Welcome everybody to today's episode of Cafecito Power Break, where we are taking a break. I hope you are joining us, whether you are joining us now live or uh, watching the replay. So, welcome. Today is what? We had a new moon this week, and today is July 19th. And today is a great conversation. Is just me today, guys. And there was something that I really wanted to talk about. Um, Today's conversation is going to be wrapped around uncovering authenticity and public speaking. All right. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is we just talked about this earlier this week. Somebody asked me, what is your definition of authenticity? And I would love to hear what your definition of authenticity is. What is it that comes to mind when you think about being authentic? Right. So I went and I looked up what the dictionary technically says about being authentic. So authenticity first, I looked up, and it's the quality of being authentic, right? And then authentic is undisputed, genuine, right? So I want to dive into that. Welcome, Beatrice. I want to dive into uncovering authenticity so that we are always showing up authentic, we always feel authentic, and we are living a life in line with being who we are and being true to ourselves. So Carl Jung said, honesty. I love that, Beatrice. Carl Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. Right? Become who you truly are. Oscar Wilde said, be yourself, everyone else is taken. When I first heard that quote, that really hit me. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. Right? Sometimes we're often or at certain points, right? And then you get to an age and you're like, F it, and all of that, right? But throughout life, you think about why is it that we aspire for the things that we want to aspire? Are we looking for, what is it that we're looking for at the very root core of that, right? So being yourself, everyone is taken is, reminded me that we are all human, having our own human experience with our own struggles, desires, hopes, dreams, ambitions, failures, right? So if I can understand that and see that within everybody else, it's easy to see it within myself, right? And vice versa. If I could see it within myself, it's easier for me to accept that within others and be more authentic in conversations with others, because I'm showing up as understanding that we're all human, just trying to get by, trying to do things, trying to accomplish things, right? Trying to create change and impact. And that I think that is so important. And Henry David Thoreau, I love this one. Be yourself, not your idea of what you think somebody else's idea of yourself should be, right? Sometimes we think we need to be a certain way, and especially as Latinas, there's been many moments and in many spaces, not all the, not necessarily all the time, but there are certainly spaces that we're often in that we feel we have to assimilate, we have to we have to not show, that we like Tupac or Biggie, that we listen to hip hop or a certain style, right? And I love that because there was a movie, and I forgot to pull it up, but it was a powerful movie, and it was about a young girl, a young Black girl who had said a statement that said, when I act or when I show that side of me where I like hip hop and I feel gangster, right? But when someone that is not of color does that, it's like they're looked at as cool, right? So when we think about being authentic to ourselves, do we feel that? I know I have at times. I felt like, oh man, this person can't know I go home and I'll listen to Mobb Deep, right? Well, not so much anymore, but every now and then I'll pull it up. I still pull up, that's the music that I grew up on. So like I think of that. And I'm like, am I being my and at this point in stage in my life, I feel the freedom of not caring anymore what anybody else thinks. But for a long time I held on to that. For a long time I held on to, like, they can't know I'm really like gangster adentro, right? And not that I am, right? But I feel I am, parts of me. I think some of you can relate to that, right? That sense of exactly. Thank you. Definitely listening to Tupac today. Today is a Tupac day. Let's listen. Let's all listen to Tupac today. But that's like when we think about being authentic and what does it mean to be who we truly are, and being, just being comfortable with that without owing anybody any apologies, because you don't, right? Everybody, has, their own thing, right? And sometimes we tend to look at ourselves and say, I don't, I need to be this thing. I need to present myself in this manner that is always, just this etiquette. Well, some of us aren't always like that. Sometimes I just feel like, sometimes I'm cursing, right? Not so much these days, pero a vez en cuando, when it comes out, right? And not because of anything other than the passion that I feel is inside of me. That's how it expresses itself sometimes. And just in culture in general, right? Sometimes those are passion words, especially, when they have meanings. No apologies for being who you are. Don't fit in anyone's boxes. Kick the box, throw the box, no more boxes, right? We have to be comfortable with being ourselves and owing no one any apologies for that. And so, like, what does it mean? Yes, all of those things that something like being doing things that are in line with your heart, right? What does it mean to be and do things that are in line with your heart? Kick it to the curb. Does it feel good, right? Do these things make you happy? We ask ourselves, right? And then it's also, when we think about being authentic, and this is really something that I've pondered with for a long time. It's doing things that align with your goals, and those things may not necessarily align with your heart, right? And what do I mean by that? Because they're scary, right? Sometimes your heart wants to play it safe, wants to love everything it does. It doesn't want to struggle. It doesn't want to have to face, the hard stuff. But doing things that are in line with your goals sometimes means doing things that go against what your heart desires, right? Meaning your heart is not going to want to do the hard stuff, right? But those hard steps are going to lead us to the goals that we want, which is ultimately aligned with our heart, right? So nothing is a down is it downward. Nothing is status quo, right? Nothing is life is not about no ups and downs. If it was, we wouldn't learn, we wouldn't evolve, we wouldn't become, we wouldn't learn what our potential is, right? The other thing is doing things that really scare you, like public speaking, right? Like doing things that that you should. What are some of those things, right? What do we all have like a deck of them maybe, right? But if you have the being true to yourself, right? The authenticity to yourself, that you have to look at yourself and be like, you know what? I know I got to do this. I don't like to do it. I don't want to do it. I want the easy route. But these are the things that are going to get me to become the person that I know deep down inside I am, and that I'm becoming, and that I'm going to be. Because why? Because we have the potential to be, right? I always get sad when people don't have goals, or they're just okay, status quo, and that works for some people. But for people like us, we want things. We want to change things. We want to create things. We want to build things. We want to be a part of things that are making a difference in the world for the better, right? Because we have to. If it's not us, who are we waiting on to rescue us? No one. When it comes to sustainability, climate change, all of this, the hard stuff, también I'm talking about, it is up to us to really find solutions to some of those issues, to some of those problems, right? And galvanize and create and support others that are finding solutions to some of those problems. Saying no when you have to. Setting boundaries with people, especially family, sometimes slash a lot of times. unfortunately unfortunately, right? And this is really important for our community, because as a Latina, in my generation, we didn't know how to support each other necessarily, right? I'm the youngest of five. When I was in my 20s, 21, I just had my son, and I was now working as a director of marketing for an organization. I didn't have anybody else telling me this is what you should do, or this is some guidance, or yes, you can do it. It was always, oh, that's risky, is it going to be safe? Is it, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like, why do you doubt? Right. So yeah, Maxine, like sometimes sometimes you have to set boundaries. It just is what it is, right? You want to be around people that are going to encourage you, and it's not necessarily always family, right? So you have to be just guard your time, right? Guard your time as much as you can. And sometimes family is supportive, because I know people where their family really, really is supportive, but not everybody has the same path. And I know that that is not necessarily the norm sometimes for Latinas, right? We don't always have people say to us, go take those risks. I got your back. Go do that. I believe in you, right? Things like that. We have to muster that up ourselves, right? Till we get to that point, we got to build that stuff up ourselves. And sometimes we have communities, and sometimes you don't necessarily the community of your family, and sometimes you have to go out and get a community. United Latinas is a great one, by the way. Side plug. All right. So finding community and people that do support you and want to see you thrive and grow, and we're in this together type mentality, right? That is part of being authentic, being able to be yourself and show up to things and not feel, obligated to be anything else, right? Sometimes we have meetings, sometimes people have their videos on, many times people have their videos off. I get it. We get it, right? We get it. Sometimes you're just not in the mood to do anything to put your hair up. Sometimes you just show up with your hair, you're all messed up. It's okay. Why? Because you're being true to yourself. Sometimes you do, obviously, important things. You have to show up as being who you feel you are, and not who you are at that moment, right? Who you feel you are. And that's a interesting concept. As I just said, that is, I would love to know your thoughts on that, right? The authenticity of showing up as who you really are inside, right? Versus sometimes you're not feeling it that day, right? Or you feeling some kind of emotion that day, you're just not up to it. And that's also part of authenticity, because we have our ebbs and flows. You have to be okay with yourself and loving yourself, and in all of those moments. All right, so I want to jump into the public speaking side. Nope, I'm missing one more thing that I wanted to share with you on the authenticity point. The embracing the suck of evolving to the next version of yourself, right? And as we're aging, this is probably important to a lot of you, right? Embracing the suck of evolving to the next version of yourself. I was thinking the other day, man, I am a totally different person than, not totally, but I feel different, obviously, for obvious reasons, different than I was when I'm 30, right? And we don't think about that when we're 30. We think we're going to be this person the whole way. And we become a new version of ourselves, shedding old skin, shedding old thoughts, and gaining new ones, new wisdom, new knowledge from what we have acquired thus far, and intentionally evolving to that next version of ourselves, right? Because if we're not intentional about evolving to the next version of ourselves, we're not moving at the speed of our potential. And I think that that is important, right? When we think about our life and the legacy that we leave and the legacy that we're creating as we're here, how important is it to evolve into that next version of yourself and gain wisdom that you can now share with others, right? And intentionally directing your life into what you want to do. So many people just kind of like lay back, right? Lay back, and if it happens to me, happens to me. Nope. We are God beings. So it is up to us to create the life that we want with intention. And yes, it's not an easy thing, but it is our responsibility, right? As being authentic to ourselves, really understanding what is our true power and potential of what we're capable of, and then going out there and intentionally creating the life that we want to live and building the legacy that we want to have, not for ourselves, but for what we leave this earth behind with, right? All right, so now my segment into public speaking, because authenticity and public speaking very much go hand in hand, right? So many people are afraid to speak. We now have recently launched Latina Speakers Network, Latina Speakers Club, where we have a directory of Latinas that are speakers. By the way, if you're looking for a speaker, you can go ahead and check out that directory, and all the profiles are on there. And we're adding new women as they complete their profiles in all the time. So keep checking that up. But we want more women to be speakers, right? Because when we think about expressing ourselves authentically, whether you don't want to speak in front of hundreds, whether you just need to be able to speak up in a meeting, right? I remember early in my career, I like just in a room full of men that were not of my color, obviously. Well, maybe, I don't know. I veces gente me llaman blanquecita, pero, um, you know, I'm not, right? So we still feel different in some of those spaces. Not anymore so much, I think, as we're aging, as we're older. But there's been moments where I was afraid to speak up earlier in my career. And I think that, when I look back at that, I'm like, why, right? And some of you may be struggling with some of that now. Some of you are like, nope, I got my voice, I feel empowered. So we are launching, and this is why we feel is it's so important, because being authentic, being able to feel true to yourself as a Latina, being able to express your voice, your message, your thoughts, your ideas, your creativity is important, right? Whether you want to speak in a space, whether you need to speak in a meeting, it's important to gain the skill sets of just being able to open up your mouth and say, this is what I believe about the world around me. This is what I believe about what we should do about these things, because we are problem solvers and we need to be executing and showcasing some of those skill sets so that we can help change the world for the better. Right. So stop needing everything to be perfect is the other thought that I wanted to share. Is oftentimes we think we have to feel 1000% comfortable, not 100%. We want to feel 1000% comfortable, right? And you're not, right? Nobody really is ever. So stop putting that thing on you that you feel that you need to be, right? So Brene Brown said a powerful quote too: authenticity is a collection of choices that we have to make every single day, right? So sometimes some of those choices are the hard choices, right? And those hard choices are being able to stand up in a meeting and being able to stand up in front of people and being able to showcase your voice. And the reason why I think that's passion, I'm passionate about that, is because I believe that the more women that we can get to feel comfortable in their own voice and being able to share their own authentic ideas, we can really change the world. We can really make a dent and make a difference if we get more Latinas to feel that and own that courage of being able to do that. So we are leading a leadership circle, a speakers leadership circle coming up in August. This is a premium member benefit. But what we've decided to do is open it up to the public. So you guys will get details on that. We'll post it, it'll be on the page, the flyer, in the next day or two. But we want women to have a space where we do a couple things in there. Number one, have activities where we practice our voice and our message, right? Number one. Number two, there's going to be lots of tools and downloadables and things that you're going to use that are really going to help you think about things differently and are really going to give you some practices and some awesome, awesome resources that are really going to leave a profound impact on your life, for sure. Because we want more women to just feel the freedom of being authentic and being able to share a thought publicly without feeling like they can't be their true self, right? Like they can't share certain aspects of them because, people, look at us a specific way, right? So we want to really provide a space that's going to be fun, entertaining, and truly, truly, truly educational. So I hope that you guys look forward to that. We'll be posting that in the next day or two. But how do you feel about public speaking? And do you want to be a speaker, right? Do you want to be a speaker? Do you want to hone those skills so that you can be your true authentic self and you can be comfortable with speaking and sharing a message? So that's going to be impactful. It's going to be amazing. And I hope that you guys will join us for that. But that is my share for today, guys. I wanted to talk about authenticity. I wanted to talk about public speaking. And I wanted I wanted to have my cafecito con ustedes, right? Look, I should talk to Carolina. Yeah, sponsoring. Got a cup. By the way, we will be having our cafecito mugs soon in our shop, so stay tuned for those. We'll post them too. Um, but I hope that you guys had a great break. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. I hope you kick the box to the curb, right? Kick that box of what we think we are meant to be and act to the curb and become who you truly are and be comfortable in becoming who you truly are. And for a community and support, join United Latinas. But other than that, for yourself, right? Um, but um, but yeah, así es, mis gentes. So I hope you all have a blessed day. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you guys the next time. A cafecito. All right. Take care, guys. Be well and be blessed también.